Do parallel universes really exist? While still a theory, it has found backing from renowned physicist Stephen Hawking. So if for a minute we assume they do exist, then the argument of alternate realities existing does follow. In fact, the two terms are often even used interchangeably. Now, this alternate reality may have a different version of you, the other you may look the same, but can have different set of aspirations. The possibilities are endless. And by this concept, we'll dig 6 stories from internet which claims they were real. Hey guys, I'm Ishan and you're watching Rebound Box, signing in.
Number 6. So I've never discussed this with anyone other than my sister and a friend of mine. Around the age of 11, my family decided to go out and visit my grandparents, and while we were there, I decided to go out and play around for a bit. As I got down and ran to car park, a car went past that nearly crashed into me, and in that car there were 3 passengers, a woman, her daughter and a male driver. So as I dodged that car, they looked like they had no emotions whatsoever and looked really dull, and as I focused into the car, that male driver was my dad. And the car was our car. Same color, same car, same plates and the same everything. As I was in there with shock, I instantly ran up to our car thinking it was stolen, but our car was right there. I turned around to follow the other car, and all I know, the car was no longer there. Standing there in shock, I came upstairs to my grandparents' house without knowing what to do or what to say. Luckily, my sister was right by the door and I told her the story and what I saw. For all I know, there she is laughing at me, and she told me that my dad hasn't left the house yet.
Number 5. When I woke up, the first thing I do is get on my computer, and so I did that one morning. I decided I would check my subscription feed on YouTube, and the first video that showed up was just some mundane story time type of video. I don't usually watch this type of stuff, but for some odd reasons I had an urge to click on it and see what it was. So I did. I watched a few seconds of the video and amused, and then suddenly I got a huge feeling of deja vu. I felt like I watched this video before. I know it's small and insignificant compared to other stories here, but it creeps me the fuck out when I think about it now. I probably have more stories like this, but usually I just blame it on my brain for making me see things.
Number 4. It started around the time I had just gotten into high school, so around the time I was about 12-13 I guess. It was a register period on the first day back after the school holidays. Second semester for anyone who is curious. We all wait for our names to be read and each of us reply. The teacher reads out a name and nobody answers. Out of nowhere, I get this feeling like someone just ripped out my stomach out and replaced it with ice cubes. I found it odd, but I can't shake the feeling. Anyway, about 5 minutes later, another new student enters the class and my jaw almost drops. Except for having red hair, she could have been my twin otherwise. The teacher sits her near me and I can't stop staring. She notices me and looks just as astonished. We begin a conversation, but the uneasy feeling stays with me. About 10 minutes later, the principal walks into the classroom and I freeze and clutch the desk. Here it comes. The teacher notices and walks over to the principal. They lean in together and he whispers something to her. She nods and he steps forward facing the class. I'm sorry class, but Miss X, the girl not present at register tour that morning, has passed away. Over the holidays, she committed suicide. I tuned out the rest of what she was said and started crying uncontrollably. And that set up the rest of the class. I don't know if I just imagined her or she really was there, but it felt surreal.
Number 3. Now this happened when I was around 16 years old. I was fairly a normal kid. I spent a bit too much time on a computer though, so I made a lot of friends with both nerdy and popular kids. It all starts when I met this nerdy kid who I call Gavin for the sake of the story. Gavin and I started becoming decent friends because our interest in Worlds of Warcraft. Gavin was a really socially awkward guy in real life, although he's a cool dude to talk to online. He's also a genius who has an IQ of around 180 as far as I remember. I did the same test he did in school and I got 103, so it's the real deal. Gavin and I came to each other's house a lot after we became good friends. We would chill and play Worlds of Wonder, which watch videos on YouTube, play chess. He was a pretty cool guy and soon enough he was one of my best friends. One day I decided to come over to his house uninvited. Might be a dick move, but I was a teenager at the time and I just thought we were really good friends, so it was cool. So I knocked on his door and this older looking guy opened, around 14. He had a little bit of grey hair and a beard. Now, at first, I assumed this was Gavin's dad because they looked very similar. But then I remembered that Gavin doesn't have a dad. I then assumed he was a relative. I asked him if Gavin was home. He laughed and told me that he is Gavin. I found this a bit weird, but it could be a coincidence, or Gavin was simply named by his uncle. I told him that I'm looking for a 16-year-old Gavin, described him to the guy, and he started looking uneasy. After some hesitation, he said Gavin was not home. I asked him when he was going to get home, didn't really go into questioning who he was, and he gave me a time after thinking for a while. So then I came over, and at the given time, and my friend 16-year-old Gavin opened the door. I told him that his relative was there. He told me that he has no relative with the same name as him, and he also told me that he was home at the time I came and met the 40-year-old. We both found this extremely weird, and our only explanation is time travel. I still keep in touch with Gavin, who happens to be studying quantum mechanics at the time. We still haven't told anyone this story.
Number 2. I used to work at a dog rescue in the Midwest before moving home to the East Coast. It was a small rescue, about 10 employees max, and we were all tight-knit. Nobody there resembled me. I'm exceptionally short and have different hair than anyone there, so it wasn't easy to make someone else for me or vice versa. This place was also haunted. We all heard a female voice yelling at us or singing near us when we were completely alone. Almost everyone saw apparitions or reflections when nobody was there. So this place was already full of some weird energy to begin with. Then it got weirder. During my last couple of months, co-workers started sending me odd texts. They would text me on my days off asking why I was there and where I would just disappear to. I would always reply that I wasn't there. While I was there, occasionally someone would jump at the sight of me and say something like, "What the hell, you were just outside, I saw you through the window," or "I just saw you in the storage room, how did you get here so fast?" They couldn't understand how I gotten from point A to B impossibly fast. Every time I would be baffled and explain that I wasn't there, they thought I was before. My best guess is that I was in the middle of making a major life decision about either staying in this city at this job and taking a promotion or coming back home to the East Coast. The decision was extremely stressful for me to make as I really loved that job. I'm missing that my energy literally just split somehow, and that a version of me was hanging around there while I endured so much angst over staying or living. If I want to get super weird about it, I could say that maybe in another reality I decided to stay there, or maybe those two timelines were intersecting and glitching onto one another. They continue to see me after I moved home thousands of miles away. But before we get into the number one spot, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe us up.
Number 1. About 4 years ago, I lived in this fairly small fly speck of a town. At the time, I had lived there for about 12 years, so I knew my way around. Our house was about a mile and a half away from the nearest neighborhood. Our mom intentionally picked that house due to the lack of neighbors. It was tucked away on the back road with the woods surrounding it. Every now and again, I liked to walk, and my little brother, who at the time was just 13. We decided to do just that. We headed up the road and decided to try to find a new path or a new clearing that we hadn't discovered yet, when we noticed something a little shocking. Just off the road that led almost directly to the neighborhood, there was a brand new paved road. Every road in that part of the town was a gravel road, so seeing an out of place paved road was pretty unusual. We stayed at it for a while and came to the conclusion that it must have been made within the last few days due to the modern but slow growth of the town. However, we had no explanation for how they did it so fast. We decided to explore it a bit. I remember as soon as we set foot on the road, the air became notably colder by at least 3 degrees. The road itself was black pavement but no dividing lines. It was surrounded by some thick red trees that resembled redwoods, but they were too short and non-native to our state. We walked on the road for about 3 miles until we decided to head back due to it getting dark. When we get off the road, we felt the temperature go back up. My brother and I agreed to explore it to the next day. At roughly noon the following day, we set back out to explore this place, only to discover that the entire road was now missing. When I say missing, I mean the trees that were cleared to make it had apparently grown back, with no sign of the redwood-like trees. We even began to explore the woods once more, but only to find no sign that it ever existed. When we asked our parents about it, they said they knew nothing about any new road working being done there. That's all for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe us out. I will be back with another video. Until then, have fun, take care, and